www.addtoany.com share. https www.al-islam.org Person Muhammad Jawad Mufnaya. https www.al-islam.org Organization Islamic Seminary. Publications. https www.al-islam.org Print PDF Book Export HTML 188483. https www.al-islam.org Printapub Book Export HTML 188483. https www.al-islam.org Printmobi Book Export HTML 188483. https www.al-islam.org Person Saeed Athar Hussein Shashrizvi. https www.al-islam.org Tags Shia. https www.al-islam.org Tags Early Islamic History. https www.al-islam.org Tags Oppression. https www.al-islam.org Tags Taghut. https www.al-islam.org Tags Al-Bayt. Mailto. Sayed@hotmail.com. Greater Sins, Volume 2. Author S. Saeed Abdul Hussein Dastgab Shirazi. Publisher S. Islamic Study Circle. In this text Ayatollah Dastgab has exhaustively explained the phenomenon of sin, the classification of sins, the necessity of avoiding them. He has described 50 different types of greater sins such as association with God, shirk, fornication, drinking alcohol, gambling, disrespect towards parents and cutting ties with relatives. See also Volume 1 and 3 of this text. Link to Volume 1. https www.alislam.org Greater Sins Volume 1 Saeed Abdul Hussein G. Link to Volume 3. https www.alislam.org Greater Sins Volume 3 Saeed Abdul Hussein G. Get PDF Get EPUB Get Mobi. Translator S. Saeed Athar Hussein Sh. Rizvi. Topic Tags. Sin. Morality. Akhlaq. Dedication. Our sins strike him like arrows. When he examines the scrolls of our deeds, he weeps at our sins. We dedicate the book to this same infallible personality. May Allah hasten his reappearance. Translator's Preface. In the name of Allah, the Compassionate, the Merciful. Praise be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, and benedictions upon the Messenger of Allah and his purified progeny. A. By the grace of the Almighty, the first volume of Greater Sins has been completed in English. The significance of moral science and ethics is evident from the words of the Messenger of Allah s. When he has described the aim of his advent, he said, I have been sent for perfecting the morals. The learned Alim, Ayatollah Dastgab was one of the greatest Mu'allim Ulaqlaq teacher of moral science. Some of his important books are Gunahain Kabira, Qalb Salim, Ma'ad, Barzak etc. His books cover various moral and ethical issues. The book Gunahain Kabira deals with greater sins. Ayatollah Dastgab has exhaustively explained the phenomenon of sin, the classification of sins, and the necessity of avoiding them. He has also described 50 different types of greater sins. Although the English translation is based on the Urdu edition, I have relied upon the original Arabic text. While translating traditions and Quranic verses, since the English equivalents of Islamic terminology do not convey the exact meaning, I have used the Arabic terms. However, those who are not conversant with Arabic words may refer to the glossary of Islamic terms. Wassalam. Saeed Athar Hussein Sh. Rizvi. A short biography of Ayatollah Dastgab Shirazi. Martyr Ayatollah Abul Hussein Dastgab Shirazi was a nobleman from a highly religious family that was known for its intellectual heritage going back to 800 years. Due to religious and spiritual atmosphere resulting from such a sound Islamic background, he had a natural and spontaneous tendency towards acquiring knowledge. After obtaining elementary education in his hometown, he moved towards Najaf al-Ashraf, Iraq, in pursuit of higher knowledge. In the town of the abode of the chief of the believers, Ali ibn Abi Talib, he continued his studies. associating with the various scholars and teachers. Soon his knowledge reached a stage such that he was granted permission by the Maharaja of that time to practice ijtihad. He then returned to his native town of Shiraz. In Shiraz he spent thousands of tumans for the construction of the Jame Masjid Atek, which was in a highly dilapidated condition. There, he began to lecture on the exegesis of the Quran and ethics. His persistent efforts raised the standard of education of the Haus al-Ilmiya of Shiraz in the various fields of fiqh, beliefs and moral science. The irreligious and tyrannical Shah imposed restrictions upon him and he was arrested many times. He was also put under house arrest by the autocratic ruler. After the success of the Islamic Revolution, he was elected a representative at the Majlis Iranian parliament. At the instance of the people of Shiraz he was designated as the representative of Imam Khomeini. The post of Imam of Jame Masjid of Shiraz was also bestowed upon him. Martyr Dast Gabe has left behind innumerable works. The most remarkable of these are Gunahain, Kabira Greater Sins, Qalb al-Salim, Salat al-Kashain, Ma'ad, At-Taba, Zindagani al-Hazrat Zahra, and Zainab al-Kubra. Apart from these he has penned dozens of books on the improvement of morals, fiqh and the exegesis of Quran. Hence, he was an excellent model of spirituality with a lofty character and a loving nature. On that fateful day in the year 1984, as he was proceeding to lead the Friday congregation, he was brutally killed in a bomb explosion by the hypocrites, the capitalist agents. Preface. By the grace of the Almighty we present the second volume of Ayatollah Dast Gabe Shirazi's Greater Sins Gunahain Kabira. Since the publication of the first volume, the readers were eagerly waiting for the second and there were many inquiries. However, since we intended to maintain the same quality there was a delay. We hope the readers find this volume as useful and interesting as the first one. We would like to sincerely thank Sister Zainab Muljani for editing and revising this volume as she had helped us with Volume 1. May Allah reward her for the long hours she devoted to this work. We also request the readers to pray that Allah give us the tawfiq to publish the third and the final volume as soon as possible. Islamic Study Circle, Mumbai, India, January 2001. The 16th Greater Sin, Singing. The 16th greater sin is singing songs. Traditions have graded it amongst the mortal sins. This fact is clear from the narration of Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, as quoted by Amash. Muhammad ibn Muslim relates that Imam Muhammad al-Baqir said, "Singing is that sin which has been promised a penalty of fire hell by Allah. It is evident from numerous reports that whichever sin incurs hell as its punishment is a greater sin. Singing too falls in that category." What is singing? Saeed Murtada, in his book, Wasila writes, "Singing is haram. It is also haram to listen to a song or to sing for money. However, every melodious sound is not a song. Singing denotes a special way of prolonging the voice and rotating it in the throat. These features are common in sensuous parties. Such type of singing is usually accompanied by music. Most of the Shia Mujtahids and the experts of Arabic language opine that singing means the turning and rotating of one's voice in the throat. These types of strains are invariably found in classical music and qawwalis. A prolonged tune of ayah is produced. In the dictionary, Sahah, it is mentioned that singing is a sound which produces a strange type of sorrow or pleasure in the listener. The other dictionaries almost agree to this definition. In brief, singing or song is a sound that makes a man unusually sad or joyful. The book Zakiratul Ibad says, "Every sound that is produced for entertainment and is capable of exciting passion is known as singing. It could be produced by making it emanate from the throat like in classical music or by any other means. In brief, whatever is understood by common sense as a song is haram. Consequently it is sinful even to recite the Holy Quran, Nawa or Marsiya in the tune of songs. In fact, this is more sinful than singing songs, for it tantamounts to insulting and degrading the Quran and Nawa or Marsiya. It is for this reason that this type of sin deserves double the punishment." About singing. 1. Singing is a greater sin. When Imam Muhammad al-Baqir said, "Singing is that sin which has been promised the penalty of fire hell by Allah," he had also recited the following verse of the Holy Quran, And of men is he who takes instead frivolous discourse to lead astray from all his path without knowledge and to take it for a mockery, these shall have an abasing chastisement. Surah Luqman 31, 6. 2. Frivolous discourse implies singing. Bringing together the above verse and the tradition of Imam al-Baqir, singing is understood to be one of the frivolous and evil acts. Other worthless acts are aimless talk or action, or poetry which is of no good to the people. All these deprive man of benefit. In other words, anything that restrains one from following the truth in the Holy Quran is a frivolous discourse. Anything that leads one astray is frivolous discourse. All those things that create passion and sensuality, sin and transgression are frivolous discourse. It is a sin, whether one sings or listens to a song. The Quranic verse quoted above is followed by, "And when our communications are recited to him, he turns back proudly, as if he had not heard them, as though in his ears were a heaviness, therefore announce to him a painful chastisement." Surah Luqman 31, 7. 3. The exegesis tafsir of the term false words. In addition to the phrase, frivolous discourse, the Holy Quran also refers to singing by the term, false words. Abu Basir inquired from Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, the exegesis of the following ayat, and avoid false words. Surah Hajj 22, 30. The Imam, replied, it means singing. In explanation to the ayat, and they who do not bear witness to what is false, and when they pass by what is vain, they pass by nobly. Surah Al-Furqan 25, 72. Imam Muhammad al-Taqi, remarked, vain means singing. 1. In yet another tradition, when Muhammad ibn Uthman inquired about the meaning of this ayat, Imam Muhammad al-Taqi, answered, it includes the evil words of one who is singing. 4. False words denote singing. The later portion of the same verse says, and when they pass by what is vain, they pass by nobly. Surah Al-Furqan 25, 72. Thus, according to the Holy Quran, when the righteous people pass by, where songs are being played, they pass in a dignified manner, uninfluenced and unimpressed by them. A similar kind of verse appears in Surah Al-Mu'minun, as well. And who keep aloof from what is vain. Surah Al-Mu'minun 23. 3. Both the above verses describe the qualities of a believer. Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, and later Imam al-Rida, have both explained the term vain words as follows. Vain words imply music and singing, and the true worshippers of Allah refrain from these. 2. 5. Singing and hypocrisy. The sixth holy Imam, Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, said, listening to music, songs and useless words cultivate hypocrisy in the heart, in the same way as algae grows in water. 3. The same book, Al-Kafi, mentions a tradition of Imam al-Sadiq, that singing and music is a nest for the bird called hypocrisy. 6. Singing program. The venue of a singing program is a place where descends divine retribution. Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq says, do not even enter houses, the inhabitants of which are deprived of divine mercy. He, is reported to have also said, the house where music is played is not safe from sudden disasters. Supplications at such a place are not answered. Angels do not enter this place. 4. It has been established in the preceding chapter that when the divine punishment descends, it does not discriminate. The excuse, though we go to places where there is music and song, but we dislike it in our hearts, seems unlikely to be acceptable. Dislike needs to be expressed by one's action, also. Songs and music should be discouraged. 7. Singing causes poverty. Amir al-Mu'minin, Ali, says, singing creates hypocrisy and causes poverty. 5. 8. Punishment for singing. The Holy Prophet has explicitly stated, when the singer shall rise from his grave on the day of judgment, he will be blind, deaf and dumb. 6. The traditions also state that the singer will be recognized by these very signs, i.e. blindness, deafness, etc. In another tradition, Holy Prophet is quoted to have said, molten lead shall be poured into the ears of one who listens to songs, intently. 7. Deprived of divine mercy. Qutb al-Rawandi has recorded from the Holy Prophet the singer is from that group of people, who would not be looked upon with mercy by Allah on the day of judgment. A fan of a singer. Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq says, One who respects a speaker, becomes his slave. If the speaker calls towards Allah, the listener worships Allah, but if he calls towards Shaitan, the listener has worshipped Shaitan. 8. It is also narrated from Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, that he said, "Whenever a person begins singing, 2 Satans mount on his shoulders and continue to hit their heels upon his chest, till the time he sings the song. Is the one kicked by the Satans to be loved and admired." Melodious sounds of paradise. Hazrat Imam Ali ibn Musa al-Rida said, "One who avoids songs shall be provided by Allah a tree, which will produce such a melodious sound as has never been heard by anyone. But the one who has not kept himself aloof from songs will not be able to hear this sound." 9. Beautiful songs in heaven. The following tradition of Allah's Messenger is recorded in the book Tafsir Majmal Bayan. One who has listened to too many songs will not be able to hear the Ruhanis on the day of Qiyamah. Who are the Ruhanis, O Prophet of Allah? Someone asked. The Prophet replied, they are the melodious singers of heaven. A similar tradition from Hazrat Ali is found in Najul Balagha. Hazrat Dawud will be the chief of the singers of paradise. 10. The people will listen to such melodious songs from Hazrat Dawud in heaven, the like of which have never been heard by anyone. However, only those who have refrained from listening to songs in this world would be able to hear them. Strict prohibition. The Holy Prophet says, "Calamities will befall my ummah as sinking of the earth and rain of stones." The people asked, when would it happen? When the instruments of music become common, singing girls are in great number and the use of intoxicants is widespread. By Allah, many people of my ummah will be such that they shall spend the night in merry-making and sensuality and in the daytime become like monkeys and pigs. It will be the consequence of considering the prohibited things permissible, they will be occupied with singing girls. Frequently take intoxicants, devour interest and shall dress in clothes made of silk. Singing and fornication. Singing instigates one to commit fornication. The Holy Prophet said, "Singing is the stepping stone to fornication." 11. Songs are responsible for awakening the latent sensual desires of man, which are soon manifested. It is the same whether one sings a song or merely listens to it. He forgets Allah's and is prepared to commit any kind of indecency. Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq says, "And all those wasteful pastimes are haram which make one forgetful of Allah, like songs and playing musical instruments." Yes, music makes one shameless and lacking in self-respect. It also destroys the feeling of love, compassion and mercy, reducing society to a nightmare. Prohibition regarding songs and singing. There is no difference of opinion among the Shia jurists about the illegality of singing. It can be said that there is unanimity upon this point. The writer of the book, titled Mustanad, says, to consider singing and music haram is one of the necessities of faith. That is, if a Muslim says that singing is not haram, then he becomes a kafir. According to the author of Isa, the traditions that state that music and singing is haram are mutawatir, very numerous. However, a slight difference of opinion exists as to the meaning and connotation of the word song. The majority of the Mu'tahids believe that any kind of sound capable of creating a desire for joyful mirth and sensual feelings is a song, and it is haram. Reciting Quran in tune of songs. As we have stated earlier, it is haram to recite Quran in the characteristics of songs. Similarly, it is also haram to recite nawaz, marsiya or azan in this way. It is immaterial whether it is poetry or prose that is being recited. Rather, rendering of the sacred compositions into songs carries double punishments. 1. For the sin of singing songs and the other for causing disrespect to a sacred text. Reciting Quran in a melodious voice. Every melodious sound is not a song. If Quran or Nawa is recited in a pleasant voice without unduly turning it in the throat, it is not haram, rather it is desirable to do so. The Messenger of Allah is reported to have said, "Recite the Quran in a pleasant voice, in the style of Arabs. You are ordered to avoid the transgressors and doers of greater sins. Certainly, such people will appear in the world who will recite the Quran in a singing manner to make the listeners emotional. It is not allowed to go near these people or to call them near you." The hearts of these people have deviated, and those who are influenced by them shall also have their hearts deviated. 12. Pleasant voice and singing. While describing the signs of the arrival of the Day of Judgment, the Prophet of Allah said, "Such kind of people will appear in the world that they would learn the Quran for worldly benefits and will recite it in a singing tune. However, there are many traditions to the effect that reciting the Quran in a pleasant voice is must-have recommended. However, we must ensure that its tone is not that of singing. Singing and music during weddings. Subject to the following 3 conditions, some of the Mujtahids have allowed women to sing on the occasion of marriages. 1. The first condition is that no grown-up men should be able to hear the singing. Not even those who are mahram under the prohibited degree. 2. Secondly, the songs must not be loud and also must not be based on false statements. 3. And lastly, the singing must not be accompanied with any kind of music. A few scholars have permitted playing of the small tambourine. Tambourine is a drum with skin on only one of its sides. Shahid al-Thani and Muhaqiq al-Thani say the tambourine could be played in a wedding if it does not have tinkles around it. However, precaution is desirable, and hence on the occasion of weddings also women should avoid singing. The playing of tambourine should also be avoided. Sheikh al-Ansari R.A. quotes Shahid al-Thani in the book. Maqasib, and Saeed Murtada says in his book Wasila that precaution is the way to salvation. 1. Refer Amali of Sheikh Tusi and also the book Al-Kafi. 2. Al-Kafi. 3. Al-Kafi. 4. Al-Kafi and Mustadrak ul-Wasil. 5. Mustadrak ul-Wasil, Chapter 78. 6. Jamil Akbar. 7. Mustadrak ul-Wasil. 8. Furu al-Kafi. 9. Al-Kafi. 10. Najul Balaga. 11. Mustadrak ul-Wasil. 12. Wasil ul-Shia. The 17th greater sin. Lying. Lying is another sin which is classified among the greater sins. The famous scholar, Sheikh al-Ansari R.A. writes in his book, Maqasib al-Muharrama. Common sense suggests lying is haram. All the revealed religions also say so, particularly Islam. The Quran is explicit in this regard. The corpus of hadith opinion of the majority of the jurists verifies this tenet, and reason also sustains this assertion. Lying is listed with the greater sins in the narration of Faisal ibn Shazan from Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq. A. Lying is one of the greatest sins. A tradition from the Holy Prophet declares, "Beware, I inform you regarding the greatest of the mortal sins. Associating anything with Allah, disobeying parents and lying." 1. A similar tradition has been quoted from Imam al-Hasan al-Askari. Also, all the evils have been locked in a room and its key is lying. 2. Angels curse the liars. The Prophet of Islam in another tradition is quoted to have said, "When a believer utters a lie without a valid excuse, he is cursed by 70,000 angels. Such a stench emanates from his heart that it reaches the sky, and because of this single lie Allah writes for him a sin equivalent to that of committing 70 fornications. Such fornications, that the least of which is fornication with one's mother." 3. Undoubtedly, lying is the worst of sins. It is obvious that the evils of lying are more dreadful than those of adultery. Some false words lead to war between two tribes or two sections of the society. Some lies blight the honor of thousands of people or endanger their lives, or lead to economic disasters. One kind of falsehood is that which is attributed to Allah SWT, the Holy Prophet or the Holy Imams. Understandably, this is the worst kind of falsehood. Often due to lying, innocent people are sent to the gallows and their families destroyed. It is for this very reason that the traditions state, lying is an evil, greater than drinking wine. Quranic verses and ahadith that denounce lying. Allah the Almighty says in Surah An-Nahl, verse 105, "Only they forge the lie who do not believe in Allah's communications, and these are the liars." Surah An-Nahl 16:105. And in Surah Az-Zumar it is mentioned, "Surely Allah does not guide him aright who is a liar, ungrateful." Surah Az-Zumar 39:3. It can be understood from the verses of the Quran that a liar calls for divine curse and invites the anger of Allah SWT. For example, and pray for the curse of Allah on the liars. Surah Ali Imran 3:61. And also, The curse of Allah be on him if he is one of the liars. Surah An-Nur 24. 8. A large number of Quranic verses and traditions condemn the sin of lying and describe its evil consequences. The late Haji Nuri has collected these verses and traditions and classified them into 40 points for easy recalling and reference. We shall quote them for the benefit of our readers. 1. Lying is transgression. Allah SWT says in Surah Al-Baqarah, "There shall be no intercourse nor transgression nor quarreling amongst one another during Hajj." Surah Al-Baqarah 2. 197. The word transgression in this ayat refers to falsehood or lying. Again in Surah Al-Hujurat it is mentioned, "O you who believe, if an evil-doer comes to you with a report, look carefully into it, lest you harm a people in ignorance, then be sorry for what you have done." Surah Al-Hujurat 49. 6. This ayat was revealed for Walid, who is mentioned as an evil-doer, i.e. a liar. 2. Meaning of the term false words. Along with the prohibition of worshipping idols, it is ordered by Allah SWT to abstain from falsehood, therefore avoid the uncleanness of the idols and avoid false words. Surah Hajj 22. 30. In this verse, false words mean lying. 3. The liar is not a believer. One of the verses quoted above demonstrates that a liar is not a believer and one who is a believer never speaks a lie. The verse pronounces, "Only they forge the lie who do not believe in the signs of Allah." Surah An-Nahl 16. Lo5. For it is clear that one who disbelieves in the divine communications cannot be a mu'min believer. 4. Lying is an evil and a sin. Traditions have mentioned lying as a sin and an evil. For example, Hazrat Muhammad al-Baqir, A. says, "Falsehood is absolutely an evil and a sin." 5. The liar is accursed. The liar is eligible for divine curse and Allah SWT causes his retribution to descend upon him. For example, the curse of Allah be on him if he is one of the liars. Surah An-Nur 24. 8. 6. The blackened face of the liar. The Holy Prophet says, "Beware of falsehood, because falsehood blackens the face." 4. An interesting incident is found in the book, Habib as-Sair. Sultan Hussein Mirza, the king of Khorasan and Zabulistan, sent one of his envoys to Sultan Yaqub Mirza, the king of Azerbaijan and Iraq. The envoy carried with him books and other gifts. The sultan had ordered the inclusion of the book Kuliyat al-Jami in the set of books. It was a very popular book in those days. Emir Hussein Abiravi, the envoy, in his haste packed the book Futuhat al-Makki instead of Kuliyat al-Jami. On reaching Iraq, he found a hospitable host in the ruler of Iraq. He was asked, "You must have been bored during this long journey." The envoy replied, "Not at all. The Sultan has sent for you Kuliyat al-Jami. So whenever we halted, I read some portions of it and passed my time." Sultan Yaqub was eager to see the book. But, when he ordered for it, it was not found, to the embarrassment of the envoy. The king demanded, "Aren't you ashamed to utter such a lie?" The envoy says, "I left the court ashamed and returned home without a reply to my sultan's letter. I did not even halt or rest during the journey to Khorasan. I felt death would have been better for me, rather than uttering such a lie." 7. Sin of lying is worse than drinking wine. Imam Muhammad al-Baqir says, "Certainly Allah has created the lock for every evil and the key to all these locks is drinking wine. But lying is worse than drinking." 5. Wine disables reason and sense, but lying kills the reason. It makes one so insensate that he becomes ready to commit any kind of satanic act. An alcoholic when under the influence of alcohol is not in his proper senses, and thus it is not possible for him to act with cunningness and treachery. But a liar can cause untold mischief in the society through his cunningness, much more than a drunkard can. 8. The foul-smelling mouth of the liar. It is recorded in a tradition that on the day of judgment the mouth of a liar will give an awful smell. 9. The angels abhor the liars. The smell of a liar's mouth would be so disgusting that even the angels will not go near him. They will keep away from the liars. This is not only for the day of judgment. Even in this world, the angels can smell the foul odor from the mouths of the liars. In a prophetic tradition it is said, when a believer utters a lie, such a bad smell emanates from his mouth that even the angels move away. 6. 10. Lying is disbelief kufr. The Almighty Allah curses the liars, as is evident from the verse of Nubahala 7 and the verse of Lamb 8. A mention about this has been made earlier. 11. The stench from the liar's mouth reaches the skies. 12. It is also recorded that the angels of the sky curse the liars. 13. Falsehood spoils faith. Imam Muhammad al-Baqir says, lying destroys faith. 9. 14. Falsehood deprives the liar from the taste of faith. Imam Ali says, every believer is deprived from the taste of faith till he gives up lying seriously and also in jest. 10. 15. According to traditional reports, lying causes animosity and hatred between people. 16. The vice of lying questions the character of the liar. A tradition of the Prophet says, the least forbearing is the one who is a liar. 11. 17. The traditions from Muzuman inform us that all the evils are locked in a room and the key to that room is lying. 18. Lying is a sin and a transgression. The Holy Prophet is reported to have said, avoid speaking falsehood, because it is a kind of evil and transgression. And both of them belong to hell. They make one eligible for hell. 12. 19. According to other reports, 70,000 angels curse the liar. 20. Lying is a sign of a hypocrite. The following tradition of the Holy Prophet is present in the book of Mustadrak ul-Wasil. The three signs of a hypocrite are lying, betraying trust and going back on his word, not fulfilling a promise. 21. The Islamic Sharia does not pay heed to a liar's advice. In this regard the Holy Prophet remarked, the advice of a liar has no value. 13. 22. Falsehood is the worst of the psychological ailments. Amir al-Mu'minin, Ali, says, the disease of lying is the most dreadful of the psychological diseases. 14. 23. Lying is an embellishment of Satan's hands. A narration of the Prophet is as follows. Certainly, Iblis applies antimony surma, wears a ring and uses snuff. His antimony is laziness and dozing, the ring of his finger is lying, and his snuff is pride and arrogance. 24. The worst earning of a man is falsehood. The Holy Prophet says, the worst of the prophet is from the trade called lying. 15. Yes, it is a fact that by lying, a person is liable for punishment more than for any other sin. 25. A man came to the Holy Prophet and asked, which